My childhood crush rejected me because I was unattractive. Now, she is a single mom and has been dropping hints to reconnect with me. So, for old time's sake, I turned her down. I turned down my childhood crush, now a single mom, because she rejected me when I was unattractive. Now her friends are blowing up my phone, insisting I give her a chance. I, male, mid-20s, spent most of my childhood and early adulthood focused on education. I'm not naturally gifted, so I had to focus and work hard, as my parents encouraged me to. Things finally slowed down later during college, and I found myself being more social. There was a girl in my social circle whom I liked, so I asked her out. She laughed when I did, but she said it was just so unexpected, and that's why she laughed. Still, it kind of stung. She declined and said she wasn't dating at the moment. Spoiler alert, she was definitely dating, just not me. But whatever, she said no. I moved on. I got a good job out of my hometown, partly based on my good school prof performance and connections through an internship. Two of the guys from work, let's call them Tony and Steve, mid to late 30s, hung out with me a lot and got me to come out of my shell more. They told me to start coming to the gym with them because they were tired of looking at my bean pool ass. I had a lot of fun and improved my body physically. Now, Tony and Steve are a couple, so whenever we would go out, they'd be really good wingmen and really got me out of my shell. I'm still a bit awkward, but much more comfortable in social situations now that I've got some experience. This happened over the course of 2 years. I wound up asking my job to work remotely, to be closer to my family, health issues, money issues back home, not going to get into it, and got approved as long as I traveled back to the office quarterly for important meetings and stuff. So now I'm back home again. I ran into Nat at the grocery store a few weeks ago. Turns out she's raising a kid on her own now and generally doing well for herself. We ran into each other again at a mutual friend's party. This is when she asked when I was going to ask her out again. I said the thought hadn't really crossed my mind, and she seemed offended. Like, why not? I said I'm not interested and thought that was that. I did kind of remove myself from the conversation quickly after that. Well, apparently that wasn't okay to do. Nat came and found me again and demanded to know why I'm not interested. Because you were interested 2 years ago. I told her that was 2 whole years ago, and she lied when she rejected me. So I haven't thought of her in that way ever since. She said a normal person would be over that, and then said it's because I'm a single mom, isn't it? I mean, honestly, I have no interest in dating single mothers, because I'm literally just now dating around. I don't want to have to deal with all the stuff that comes with a situation like that. But more to the point, I'm not attracted to Nat anymore. I just simply don't see her that way. Am I crazy here? Why are her friends blowing me up because I don't want to date her? Tony and Steve are telling me that I don't owe her anything, but some of my friends at home are telling me to at least give her a shot. I haven't really talked to my parents about it, but my younger brother is saying I should try, and my older sister is telling me to trust my gut. I just don't understand why or how this got to be such a big deal. Update 1. After reading and replying to some of the overwhelming amount of comments here, I spoke with my sister last night about what to do. I don't like the chaos of this situation. It's a lot of anxiety, and I feel the need to resolve it. To that end, after much consideration and my sister's agreement, I reached out to Nat this morning and asked her if she would meet me for coffee tonight. I made it clear that this is not a date. It's just 2 friends trying to come to terms with each other, because I don't like all the messages and comments from her friends. Nat accepted pretty quickly and said she'd like to clear the air about some things. The fact that she apologized for any craziness does give me some hope that our talk later will be productive. I will update you all tomorrow if I can. I appreciate everyone's time and input. Edit, please. No red pill theories in here. I don't like how adversarial that makes things, and it's not how I view the world. My sister, my mother, my cousins, and many other people in my life are absolutely wonderful women. I don't like the disparagement, so let's please keep things civil. This is not an indictment on an entire gender. Let's stop it, please. Comments. Darth kitties. No way. There is literally no benefit to you dating a single mom as a guy with options. let alone one who was not interested when you were less successful. Ope. To be clear, the parenthood thing makes me feel anxious and uncomfortable. But in my mind, that's less of a concern than the fact that I'm just not attracted to her. I don't know that it's fair to say my successes are a factor. People always expected a lot out of me, and Nat is successful in her own right, I know that much. She's not a bad person. I'm just not interested. J. Smith, 21207. You saying that you are not interested is enough. It's pretty pathetic that she is now harassing you and having other people harass you just because you don't want to date her. That would make me be more turned off towards her. Does she think arguing with you about why you won't date her and getting other people to message you over it would make you, what, want her more? Or guilt you into dating her? Up. I don't know what she's thinking, really. I felt really awkward, so I've been making myself scarce. I do feel kind of guilty. I'm not used to rejecting people. Magus, given that she laughed at you last time, why should you give her a chance now? Op. She did say that she laughed because she didn't expect me to ask her out last time. I kind of believe that because I laugh when I'm nervous or surprised too. I just feel guilty. I don't like making people feel bad. Her friends are talking her up quite a bit. She does have a lot of really nice qualities about her. But my gut is just telling me not to go for it. I'm uncomfortable any way I look at it. Fun Yellow 6550076. You're not wrong. She lied to you when she rejected you. That's the only thing that matters. Op. Thank you. The lying does hurt. If she had said she's not interested, that would have been fine. Then again, I do understand that sometimes women lie because they don't feel safe. I don't know that I necessarily blame her for it, but it also doesn't exactly make me feel good. Update 2. Hi everyone. Thank you to everyone who commented on my first post. This will be my last update. Some of you got very angry very quickly, and I wanted to clear a couple of things up before telling you all how it went last night. I try not to attribute behavior to malice if there's a possibility it can be attributed to incompetence. I think the world would be a better place if we tried to do that a bit more and be a bit less antagonistic. I know I would appreciate the benefit of the doubt if and when I do something wrong, so I try to do the same with Nat and her friends. Honestly, I'm glad I did. Nat has been in the periphery of my life for a long time. We weren't ever really close, but being from the same town, you get the general idea of who a person is over time. I was shocked at her behavior because I thought it was unlike her. Her friends reaching out to me surprised me and had me feeling anxious because I'm honestly not used to that much social attention all at once. The tone and content of the attention notwithstanding. These are not inherently bad people. I believe they are just generally good people who are behaving poorly. Anyway, what you all really want to know. I met Nat for coffee, well, tea, at a local coffee shop last night. She showed up late after I did and said it was because of some childcare stuff she had to take care of. It turned out that her son's father is very much in their lives, but just as a co-parent. The reason she is single is because co-parents are really all they can be together. They did not work well as a couple at all. But from Nat's own admission, her son's father is a very good dad, dedicated, caring, and supportive. I said to Nat that these last couple of weeks were very stressful for me because of her friends contacting me about her. I told her that I'm sorry if she was offended or hurt by my saying no, but I'm not sorry for saying no. Nat stopped me and apologized herself. She said she didn't intend for any of that to happen. She just has some very loyal and passionate friends. She also said sorry for how she behaved at the party and gave me some very helpful context. Nat had just recently started dating again and has not been having much luck. She expected as much, but she didn't expect people to be so uncaring about it. The last guy she met was quite cruel about her being used goods and harshly rejected her specifically for being a single mom, so that was fresh in her mind. Nat said she saw me and was attracted to me, not just physically, but because I was less socially awkward and could hold somewhat of a decent conversation now. She said she remembered that I was smart and caring, but that I was very socially awkward when I had first asked her out. Nat was adamant that she did not mean to laugh. She was genuinely just surprised, because she never suspected that I even thought of her that way to begin with. I do believe her on this front. It turned out that she was trying to flirt with me at the party, and when I rejected her, the negative emotions she had from the last rejection just took over, and she reacted poorly. She said she complained to her friends, and they took it upon themselves to try to grease the wheels. To Nat's credit, the messages have stopped since yesterday, after I first reached out to her and explained why I wanted to meet. In retrospect, I think I may have overreacted too. I believe this because, looking at some of the messages from her friends more objectively, it looks like they were just advocating for us to be together, rather than attacking me for saying no, if that makes sense. But all the attention felt like demands to me, and I may have panicked a bit. So that's basically it. Everyone apologized, she apologized, and it's all a lot more mundane than I think some people may have expected. No, we're still not dating, and we're both okay with that. Though we did agree that if the opportunity presents itself down the line, and the timing is right, one or both of us may try gently approaching the idea again. I don't know if I ever expect that to happen, but it's not entirely a bad thought. Just not a thought I would entertain for at least a few years from now. I like my life the way it is. For now. Comments. Late champion 86 678. You seem like a very nice guy. Actual nice, the good kind. I'm sure your anxiety about the situation played a role, but underneath that you seem like a caring guy. With that said, stay away from Nat and her friends. She may not have intended the bum rush, but the fact her friends thought it appropriate at all is concerning. Listen to Tony and Steve. They have their heads screwed on right. Opt. Thank you. Yeah, I am grateful to have my friends. I've been a generally anxious person most of my life, so I can't say I'm too surprised at it having such an impact on me here and now. Fish. Having read both bits of your story, I am simply baffled by why you are in any contact with her or her unbalanced friends. Do you want to be in high school forever? You did nothing wrong. She was unable to deal with her life, so she sicked her childish posy on you via the net. When an adult has a problem, they deal with it themselves. No adult messages a third party about who they should be dating. None of this was anyone's business but yours, and certainly not that group of harpies. This is childish and sad. Stand up for yourself. Tell her to never bother you again and move on with your life. The refrigerator. It was someone he liked and had respect for at some point in his life, and he wanted to give her a chance to redeem herself as that person in his mind. Does she deserve it? I don't think that matters, because he wanted to clear the air. Yeah, I don't think she or her friends are reasonable, but sometimes being human is to be unreasonable. It doesn't sound like he's going to date her or anything. Up. Thank you. I did want to settle the matter. If something feels unresolved, it makes me very uncomfortable. I'm very glad that Nat was more agreeable this time around, and I appreciated learning the context of her life. I feel very badly for her that the last guy or two treated her so meanly. I can't fathom being that callous to another person. It doesn't make sense to me. Peter, 95,837. I'm surprised things didn't turn out as messy as I thought it would. I'm reading too much Reddit posts lately. LOL. All in all, I'm happy for OP, as he seems like a nice guy. But for the best, going the distance from Nat and her friends is the best solution. Story 2. I uncovered my wife's secret affair in Paris by tracking our airline miles, canceled her return flight, divorced her, and even managed to get her French lover's band to break up. My wife and I have been together for 6 years. When I met her, I knew right away that I wanted to be with her forever. She was everything I ever thought I wanted in a woman, and more. It actually took a little bit of convincing to get her to go out with me to begin with. She was new at the office we worked in, and she didn't want to get in trouble by another employee, but I could tell that she liked me by how she looked at me. We eventually had our first date, and it was incredible. It sparked the beginning of a whirlwind romance, and we got married about a year and a half after meeting. One of my favorite things about her was her desire to always be learning. Whether it was a new skill or a language, she was always trying to expand her horizons. She was a very worldly person. She loved to travel, and she loved learning things about different cultures. I wasn't any of that, but I aspired to be, so I admired her for it. We did some traveling together when we first got married. We visited Singapore and Thailand together, which was incredible. When the pandemic happened, obviously we weren't able to travel at all. Not being able to travel and explore the world really took a toll on my wife. It truly was her greatest passion, and having her confined within a house for months was a nightmare for her. One of the things that she did to escape from that was to join this online club that would meet once or twice a month. People would just chat over a Zoom call about places they visited in their cultures. One of her favorite aspects of it was a recipe sharing section, where everybody shared different foods from their respective cultures. She loved her group. She actually became pretty good friends with a lot of the members. They would chat with each other away from the group meetings, play games online, or watch movies together through Discord. I was happy that she was able to find a way to survive those early days of the pandemic. When everything was clear, vaccines were coming out, and it was finally safe to travel, she jumped at the first opportunity she had. Unfortunately, I was back working in the office, so my schedule wasn't permitting anything like that. She was actually laid off at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was supporting us both, so if she wanted to travel, she would have been able to. We had a long conversation about it because she felt bad going without me, but she told me how trapped she felt after everything that happened. I wasn't happy with her going without me. I felt left out, but I knew that she needed that freedom, so I agreed to let her go. She left for a week and came back happier than I'd seen her in a long time. She had gone to Germany to visit one of the friends she made in her online group. She showed me a ton of pictures of them together, the things she'd seen, and the food she had eaten. I thought it was enough to satiate her desire to travel until we could do it together, but I was wrong. It only seemed to open a window for her to want to do more. I still couldn't take off and ignore my responsibilities to go with her. I explained how her traveling alone made me feel, and she agreed that she would wait until I could take some time off before she went anywhere else. A couple of months after we had that conversation, she told me that one of her friends from the online group had been begging her to come for her wedding. At first, I thought that I would have had enough time to request time off work and go with her. When she told me the dates, I was disappointed because I knew I wasn't able to go. I had a big work conference that was mandatory for me to attend. I reminded her of that, and she told me she had forgotten all about it. I didn't realize this at the time, but she was lying about that then. I didn't have any reason to suspect that something was going on, so she seemed genuine when she told me that she forgot and wouldn't go if I couldn't go with her. She knew that I would tell her to just go without me. The weeks leading up to her departure were a little strange. I could tell that there was something wrong with her, but I didn't know what at the time. She was acting very nervous around me. She couldn't meet my eyes a lot of the time, and it always seemed like there was something on the tip of her tongue that she wanted to say. We both left on the same day for our flights. I was so busy that I didn't even think to check in on her when her flight should have landed. When I got back to my hotel room at the end of the day, I checked my messages to see if she sent me anything. But she didn't. Before I started to worry, I logged into the airline's website to check her arrival time because I traveled for work a lot, and she liked to travel in general. We had a joint account, so we could accross miles. I saw that there was a new flight logged in our history. She landed where she told me she was originally going to, but there was a departure to Paris, France, an hour after the other flight arrived. She never mentioned anything about going to Paris while she was there. I screenshotted the information and texted it to her to make sure that it was her who bought the ticket. It wasn't impossible that somebody could have hacked our account and bought their own plane ticket. She didn't respond to me right away, but I got a message about 15 minutes after the Paris flight was scheduled to arrive that pretty much confirmed to me that she was in Paris. I just didn't understand what she would be doing there. She called me from the airport and told me that she had a little extra time and wanted to visit the city before the wedding. I was honestly a little too tired to argue with her, so I accepted it and figured we would talk about it later on. It was a little bit frustrating for me because airline tickets aren't cheap, especially not when somebody is buying business class and first class tickets everywhere they go. As I said, she lost her job at the beginning of the pandemic. I had an incredible job, and supporting both of us wasn't an issue at all. But when she was making purchases like that, it would have been nice to be aware of them. I went to sleep and didn't even think about it until I woke up in the morning. When I looked at my phone, I saw that I had a text message from an unknown number. It wasn't immediately alarming because I get a lot of spam text messages daily. When I opened it to see what it was, I saw a picture of my wife standing in front of a mirror, naked, with a man standing behind her taking a picture. There was no context given to the photo at all. Immediately, I replied and asked who the person was. They read the message, but didn't reply. The conference I was attending was hugely important for my work, so I tried as best as I could to push what I saw to the back of my mind just to get through the day. I didn't look at my phone because I couldn't stomach the idea of my wife texting me that she loved me after what I saw. When I was finally finished with the day, I noticed that the number that texted me had tried to call me twice. I got back to my hotel room and called back. Surprisingly, a man answered the phone. I asked him who he was and why he sent me the picture that he did. He told me that he just wanted me to know that I was barking up the wrong tree by talking to my wife. I was very confused about what he was saying. I was married to the woman. If anybody was barking up the wrong tree, it was him. While we were on the phone, I noticed that he had a thick French accent. It was clear that she booked the ticket to France to be with that guy in the picture. Out of curiosity, I checked the airline website again to see if she had booked another ticket back to the city she was originally supposed to be in, but she didn't. The only ticket that was remaining was her return flight home. Without thinking much about what I was doing, I removed my payment information from the website and I canceled her flight. I didn't know exactly what was going on there, but I knew she cheated on me. The details about what she told that guy weren't really any of my concern. She lied to me about why she needed to go abroad so she could sneak off with the other man. I doubted there was even a wedding she was supposed to attend. I finished up the conference and went home right away. If she was going to cheat on me, I was going to take everything from her. She could be stranded in Paris for the rest of her life, and I wouldn't care. When the time came for her to come home, she called and texted me, asking me why I canceled her flight. She had no idea her little boyfriend told me about what was happening. I ended up answering the phone and explaining to her that I knew everything and she wasn't going to be returning to the States on my dime. She would have to figure out her own way home. She tried to explain the picture by saying that I misunderstood because it was an old photo of an ex. I knew for a fact it wasn't. She was lying to me yet again. I told her that she had one chance to tell me the truth, and that was it. She caved in and told me what was really happening. Of course, the man she met in Paris was one of the people from her online group. They had both gotten to talking, and he seduced her. He was in a band, and he was artsy. Things that she would normally go for in a man before she met me. I didn't say anything about it and told her that when she got home, she could expect to find divorce papers waiting for her. Then I hung up. I didn't buy her plane ticket back. She actually ended up having to call several people to try and get them to buy her a ticket because she didn't have any of her own money. I completely cut her off after I found out she cheated. Her sister ended up buying her the ticket, then called me to ream me out over the phone about stranding her. I did some online to try to find out who the guy was that my wife was sleeping with. She mentioned that he had a band, but when I found him, I was surprised by how many followers he had. He was a growing artist and had recently released a song that was doing pretty well. I knew it was wrong when I did it, but I couldn't help myself. I blurred out my wife's face so she couldn't sue me for revenge. Then I posted the picture of the man online with a throwaway account and tagged him in it. It got a lot of views, and the story that I posted along with it about how he slept with a married woman and ruined someone's life got a lot of sympathy from people. I divorced my wife, and she ended up moving in with her sister while she looked for a job that could sustain her. She ended up working in person again, which I knew would disrupt her traveling desires. I thought that was funny. A couple of months after I posted the picture online, I checked on the status of the band out of curiosity. They had gotten quite a mixed reception over the image. One of the band members spoke out on their Instagram page about how, after everything happened, it was decided that it would be best for the band to part way and pursue different paths. So it felt kind of good knowing that their band might have broken up because of me.